what difference and or similarities do you believe herbalism has in the present day compared to 50, 100, even 200 years ago? Well, one of the differences is I don't think herbalism is used to treat acute infections today the way it was in the past, because now we have antibiotics. And there's a good reason. And I'm happy that we do, because 200 years ago, 100 years ago, the number one cause of death was infections. And herbs are anti-infective. I think they work topically as anti-infective agents better than internally. Many herbs with anti-infective properties actually have to touch the infection to kill the pathogen. So antibiotics kind of were and are life-saving for this reason. Now, there are some herbs that are actually anti-infective, um, because their phytochemicals actually do get in the blood and travel around. Golden seal is not one. If golden seal can't touch it, it can't really kill it. So golden seal is much more useful for um, colon disorders, right? Kidney disorders, where it's actually filtering through liver, it's actually filtering through. So it's touching it, it can kill it. Echinacea, we call a natural antibiotic, but it actually works internally by increasing the white cell count. So it's boosting the immune system. So when we think of natural antibiotics, it's like, can it touch it? Again, it makes it much more useful topically than internally, or is it affecting the immune system in some way? Now, there are a few herbs that actually get in the bloodstream due to their phytochemical content, like black walnut, which is actually one of my go-tos for any kind of infection. Pine is another one, a pretty good go-to, gets into the bloodstream. Wormwood, but these are our parasite herbs, what we consider our yeast parasite herbs traditionally, but they were also in a certain time period considered your anti-infective herbs. So I think this is a big shift. So the shift now I see with herbalism is more toward chronic illnesses. And yeah, they're very, very useful for chronic illnesses. So this is kind of like this shift in herbalism I've seen. Another shift in herbalism I've seen just from my young days as an herbalist, Tommy Bass's days as an herbalist. Almost nobody was on medications back then. If I saw a client, it was unlikely when I first started out that that person was on any kind of medication. Even the doctors were more along the philosophy of, let's give it a few weeks, let's see what happens, or let's try this drug for a few weeks and see if you settle down. It was one doctor here would go like, see if you settle down. So people were not on multiple medications, which is what I see now. My clients probably average 4 to 6 medications, and big difference. And so now it's like, if I don't know the medication off the top of my head, I'm definitely going to need to look it up to make sure that there are no herb drug interactions that are taking place. So that's a big difference in herbalism. We've kind of gone from acute to chronic, and the medications issue. And also diagnostics, conventional medicine diagnostics are much better now than they were, 100, 200 years ago, which is also helpful for us herbalists. If our client has been to the doctor, we can go, what did the doctor say? What do your tests show? And we can use that information along with our assessment of hair, tongue, nails, pulse, whatever assessment techniques you're using, to create a kind of better picture of what is happening with the client. So there is that difference.